Bat. Morning began like any other in the buzzing, oil-scented garage. But for Malik, something felt different. As he leaned over the hood of an old sedan, exhausted from working through the night, he noticed an elderly woman standing quietly beside a car that had clearly given up on her. Her hands trembled, her voice wavered, and the worry in her eyes reminded him of his late mother, gentle, fragile, and always trying to stay strong. She explained that she needed to get to the pharmacy, but her pension wouldn't arrive until the following week. Without hesitation, Malik offered to take a look. He didn't think about the cost, the rules, or the consequences. He simply saw a human being in need. He fixed the issue, replaced a part, patched a leak, and even added fuel from his own small canister. When the engine finally roared back to life, her eyes filled with grateful tears, proof that kindness, even in small moments, can change the course of a day. But the warmth of that moment didn't last long. Later that afternoon, the garage fell unusually silent as Mr. Harlan marched in, his footsteps heavy with anger. The other mechanics froze, tools suspended in midair, as he demanded to know why a repair had been done without a single charge on the invoice. Malik tried to explain, gently, honestly, but the boss wasn't interested in reasons, only in rules. His voice grew sharper, louder, echoing off the metal walls as he accused Malik of treating the workshop like a charity. Malik stood there, eyes lowered, still believing he had done the right thing. But in a sudden burst of frustration, Mr. Harlan shouted the words that tore his world apart. He was fired. In that moment, Malik didn't argue or plead. He simply removed his gloves, placed them on the bench, and stepped out, holding on to the belief that doing good should never feel like a mistake. The days that followed moved slowly, heavy with uncertainty. Malik woke up each morning with the same determination, stepping out to search for work wherever he could. But every door seemed to close before it even opened. Without a reference or proof of his experience, people saw only a young mechanic with no credentials, not the hard-working soul behind the grease-stained hands. His small savings disappeared faster than he expected. Groceries became lighter, and the house felt quieter, almost tense. His younger sister, unaware of everything he was battling inside, kept asking why he looked tired, why he barely ate, why he forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Malik simply told her things were fine because he couldn't bear to worry her. At night, he lay awake thinking about the dreams he once held so tightly, now slipping through his fingers. But even in the struggle, he hoped that life hadn't closed its doors forever. Just when the garage had settled back into its cold routine without him, something unexpected happened, something that began to unravel the truth behind Malik's quiet act of kindness. 3 days after the incident, Mrs. Green walked slowly into Red Line Auto Repairs, leaning on her cane yet carrying a resolve far stronger than her frail frame suggested. The mechanics looked up in surprise as she approached Mr. Harlan, her voice trembling but steady enough to hold his full attention. She told him who she was, the woman whose car Malik had repaired, and then shared the part no one knew. That same day, she had been rushing to the hospital to see her grandson one last time. Without Malik's help, she never would have made it in time. Tears welled in her eyes as she said, "He didn't just fix a car. He gave her a final goodbye she would cherish for the rest of her life." That night, Mr. Harlan couldn't escape the weight of her words. The garage lights were off. The tools were silent. Yet his mind replayed every moment: his anger, his harsh tone, the look on Malik's face when he walked out without defending himself. For the first time in years, the boss felt something he had buried long ago: remorse. He thought about his own son, the loss he had never fully healed from, and how Malik's simple compassion had reminded him of the humanity he had shut out. By morning, he had made his decision. He found Malik's address through one of the apprentices and drove to the small, worn-out neighborhood where the young man lived. When Malik opened the door and saw him standing there, he froze, uncertain of why his former boss had come. But Harlan didn't waste a second. He apologized sincerely, admitted his mistake, and offered Malik not just his job back, but a promotion recognizing his integrity. When Malik walked back into the garage, it felt almost unreal-like, stepping into a place he had known all his life, yet seeing it with new eyes. The clang of tools, the faint smell of engine oil, the echo of footsteps on concrete. Everything felt warmer somehow. The apprentices were the first to spot him, and their faces lit up instantly, followed by soft claps that quickly turned into a heartfelt welcome. Even customers glanced over with relieved smiles, as if the missing piece of the workshop had finally returned. And then there was Mrs. Green, standing quietly near the entrance, with her hands clasped to her chest, her eyes shining with gratitude. Malik's sister later joined him, watching proudly as he stepped into his new role, a role he had earned not through ambition, but through kindness. In that moment, the workshop wasn't just a place of work anymore. It was a reminder that goodness, even when challenged, finds its way back home.